Now, this week is an electric bike again, and it's one of the more premium electric bikes as well, for a nice change. And this is it here. It is the Zero SRF. Which I'm going to keep this review very, very simple because it's very easy to get carried away. Battery sizes, battery charge times, the different options of batteries as well. As you can see, everything's very, very premium on it. We've got brakes, dual discs on the front by J1 and a single on the rear. This is the 2023 model, so it does come with a few extra tricks as well, which again, I'll keep this review as simple as possible. You know, in layman's terms, I think that's the way I'll word that there. We've got Showa suspension on the rear and also adjustable front suspension on the front as well. It's belt drive, so that in itself gives it a unique feel. You don't really get many belt drive forms of transportation these days, do you? So that's quite a nice change for me. Crafted in California. Now this particular one, the SRF, is very much a sports naked, I would say. It feels like a sports bike to ride. And in this review, I'm going to be taking you into all sorts of different scenarios that you might use this bike for. So I'm going to take you out on the road, I'll take you out on the motorway, and we'll do a bit of traffic riding and basically just do things that you would normally do on an everyday bike. Now before we go too far, with electric, there are a lot of people that will sort of go against the grain a bit with it, and I get it, I understand why. But honestly, you really need to try it before you make a judgment and see where they sit, see where they work, as opposed to putting barriers up why it won't work.
So throughout all of this, I am coming at a place of being an electric advocate. I do believe that electric is the way forward, believe it or not. I know a lot of people don't, and that's fair enough. I still like my petrol fossil fuel burners as well, but I do believe that electric is in its infancy, but it is going in the right direction. If they can only get the price down and get some realistic road bikes out there, then we're going to be in a good place. But still some work to be done on that front, sadly, at the moment. Zero for me have always been the premium maker of electric. They're kind of spearheading the way forward with it. We're going out onto the motorway now. Open her up. Now, they are very, very quick, these bikes. They come with 190 Newton meters of torque, this particular bike, so got plenty of power there. At the moment I'm on 91% battery. So yeah, we do have cruise control on this as well, which is a nice addition. And this really, for electric, is where you do start eating the battery up. It does start to go pretty quick. That being said, we've still got loads and loads of range on this one. We got 100 miles at least of range, and that's what it's telling me. Well, it's actually telling me 112 miles at the moment. So we'll put that to the test and see how it goes. The bike has a top speed of 123 miles an hour or so. So you got plenty left. Now with it being electric as well, is that there's no let off. It doesn't run out of steam. It'll just keep on pulling, up to 120 miles an hour, no problem at all there. She's going for it, isn't she? Got a tuck in there. So yeah, it'll keep pulling well up to that sort of speed. The amount of power that you get from these electric bikes is incredible. Because you've got no vibrations, it just makes it quite a nice motorway rider really. Okay, when we're going into traffic, it will take anything off the lights, no bother at all there. This particular bike, the SRF, is very narrow, easy to filter through, and quite nimble as well. Hasn't really got a short wheelbase, but it feels like it has. Yeah, it's just easy just to nip in and out, and this is where electric bikes are really great. They really are easy to nip through the traffic. It's a really nice bike to ride around town. Actually, it's a fun bike to ride around town, even in, you know, heavy traffic. If it's mainly traffic you're going to be using it for, then you'll be making a very good choice indeed.
Okay, for the walk round, I'm 5'8" and I've got a 30-inch inside leg, and I'll pull it up off the stand. On the spec sheet, the seat seems really quite high, but because the seat is quite thin, I'm still flat-footing it with a slightly bent knee. Up on the pegs, they're semi-sporty, I would say, and I've got a nice bend on my knee there. The reach for the rear brake, you have to pigeon toe it into the brake area. It's tucked away a little bit. Brake discs and the calipers, they are made by J1. The brakes on the front are really quite good, but on the rear, probably because it's still a new bike, it is a little bit vague at the moment. See that this is an electric bike as soon as you see this. Obviously all of this here is battery, and then we've got the small motor in the back. The amount of effort they have put into that particular motor, for something that seems quite simple, it's really not inside there. They've put a lot of work into that. It's not really a pillion rider. It's one of those bikes where you just do little trips. You wouldn't really put a pillion on the back to do a decent long trip. Had my sons on the back there, and they said the same thing, that they felt a little bit perched, and it was a small seat, which was quite, wasn't particularly comfortable. The seat for the rider is okay, but again, it's that type of bike, isn't it? It's not, you know, there for comfort as such, you know. It's just okay. It's a little bit hard, and after a while it does start to dig in. Ideally, I would like to see them make a bike with less top speed, because who's going to need 125 miles an hour, you know, for road riding? No one. And also perhaps maybe a little bit less power, because there's so much power in there. Kind of, you know, some of it you don't really use, you don't really need. It's fast enough with half the power. So it'd be interesting to see if they could make a bike, and perhaps some of the other Zeros do. You know, maybe some of the other bikes have longer range, but less top speed. You know, that's what I'd like to see, really. Right, so for charging, I've been charging it overnight, and I find that the easiest way from a standard wall socket. So basically, you can add to your bike a cable, which is unfortunately it's £450, which I think is a bit of a silly price for a bit of cable and two plugs on each end. As long as you don't need to do over 100 miles a day, then you can do what you need to do, get home and basically plug it in at the end of the night, and in the morning it will be up to 100% again. You can actually go onto the app, and then you can buy extras like the parking mode, for example. It's already built into the bike, but you have to activate it and pay for it via the app. Again, it seems a bit of a strange way of doing things. It seems to, you know, a lot of bikes seem to be doing that now. KTM are doing that now. So it is spec'd up, but you have extras that you can buy. So, for example, the parking thing that you can get basically means that you can have a reverse on the bike as well. Now you might think, well, that's a bit of a gimmick, but actually it is really quite handy. When you do need it, it is quite nice. As I say, charging wise, there are bigger chargers. I'm not going to go into that, it gets quite in depth. There are different chargers you can get in different battery packs, which can extend the range. Now who's this bike going to be for? Now this is the big $1 million question here, isn't it? We've got to face the facts. It's a lot of money, and there's a lot of bikes out there available for this money. I honestly think that it's, dare I say, I think it's for Tesla type of people, really. Sort of people who'd have a Tesla in the garage would sort of say, oh, look, this is my electric bike as well. So it's a shame, really, because I think the market is so, you know, could really advance if we had some cheaper bikes that were like this, that did what this does. Right, so the question is, what happens to the battery when you need to change it? Now, I don't know how much the new battery would be. I guess it's a lot of money, whatever it is. But they do tend to go on for a long, long time. I don't think many people have had Zeros and actually needed to change the battery over the sort of last 15 years that they've been properly selling these bikes. They do seem to go on and on. Yes, they're going to lose a bit of power over time, a bit like when a motorbike loses horsepower, you know, over 20 years or whatever. You still got the power there, it just isn't as at its optimum like it was when you first bought the bike. There is a 5-year warranty on the battery anyway, so should you get any problems, and you've got that as backup. If I put the key in here, like so, we have this, what I call a frunk, which is a Honda NC750 thing. That's my charger there for a Type 2 to Type 2 charger, should I need it, but a handy place to keep the cable underneath there. Other things we got here is all the switchgear, which feels really very nice indeed. So on left bar we've got the indicators, the mode selector and the horn. On the right hand bar we have the kill switch, as we might call it, generally speaking, on most bikes, and also the cruise control. Yeah, so if this was me, I'd probably go for the bog standard bike. I'd have to pay for that £450 lead, which, in all honesty, I wouldn't be very happy about for for something that's essentially got 2 plugs and a bit of cable in between. But yeah, it's a good bike for going around town. It just depends whether you how much you want to do. I mean, as a commuter, brilliant. As a Sunday blaster, brilliant, but you're restricted to range. And that is the only thing which, and the price, which hold people back on buying electric, isn't it? I just want to say thank you very much to Zero for letting me have the bike for a decent amount of time. I really do appreciate it. It means that I've been able to get the shots in and do things properly as I want to do. So thank you very much to them. And thank you to you for watching this. If you've got any questions, then please do put them down in the comments below. And I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts on it, or any questions that you may have. If I don't know the answer, then I'll find the answer for you. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you next Sunday at 4 p.m.